All right, we got our next feature Friday. I'm pretty excited, man. I'm gonna call him Big Dog, and I'm gonna apologize in advance because we was in the yard together. He might call me Corn. That's what the younger DC folks is calling me back on the yard. But welcome James Tate to our feature Friday. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're a holistic wellness practitioner, but just give us a little bit of feedback. You do our Wellness Wednesdays. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man. So thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate you for inviting me on this platform. And my name is James Tate. I'm born and raised in Washington, D.C. I'm a graduate of Johnson C. Smith University, class of 2002. I am a proud member of the Spring 2001 Alpha Epsilon chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Corn, you're kind of familiar with that chapter as well.
Yes, y'all troublemakers. Y'all some troublemakers.
Yeah, man. And, I graduated from Smith with a degree in computer science engineering. And so now I'm doing something completely different. So just a little note to, young alumni and current students that, it's okay. What you get your degree in, you may not do later on in life. Just find something that you love. And we'll talk about that a little later.
All right, man. Nice. Well, tell us, can we back up the story a little bit? Are you willing to go through your story about how you were Big Dog, the way you were at, and where you got to this point where you're like a wellness practitioner?
Yeah, man. Hey, so
you
the story.
If you want, offensive line, all that.
Yeah. So the story is a part of me, so I don't mind sharing it at all. So, prior to attending Johnson C. Smith, I played football at DeMatha Catholic High School, which is a very popular high school here in the DC area.
Nationally.
And I played, nationally. Yeah, definitely. And I played defensive line there. And I actually ended up at Smith by accident. My scholarships were taken away from me in football and Johnson C. Smith. Basically, I just ended up there. My father dropped me off there at Smith because at that time, my cousin was the dean of students. Shout out to Treva Norman. And I ended up at Smith on accident, but it ended up being the best 5 years of my life. And so when I played football, my playing weight was about 275, 280. Got to Smith. I didn't play football at Smith, so my weight was about 330. Big Dog was always my nickname. And so in 2007, I was involved in an accident that damaged the entire left side of my body. So if you cut me in half, nothing on the left side worked. And I was immobile for a year and had 3 years of physical therapy after that. And so after that year of being immobile, my weight went up to 415. And the doctors told me that my injuries would never heal if I didn't lose weight. But I've been big my entire life, so I didn't think it was possible, So my brother actually invited me back to church. He said, "Why don't you come back to church with me? You tried everything else, nothing's working. Come on back to church with me." And so 2010 New Year's service, I went and rededicated my life back to Christ, and I prayed for weight loss. I started reading every scripture about nutrition and food and what to eat, what to stay away from. I started reading different books about nutrition and biblical nutrition. And long story short, I started that year with a Daniel fast, the first time I ever fasted in my life. I never went 2 days without a chicken wing. I'm going to keep it real with you. I thought I was about to die, right? So, so basically the Daniel fast is no bread, no meats, no sweets. So it's basically fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, right? And lots of water. And so I did that for 21 days. I was still living after those 21 days, and I liked the way I was feeling, so I continued along with it. And so at the end of that year, my weight went from 415 to 205 naturally. And people couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
I remember seeing you. I was like, hey. People called me, "You see Big Dog?"
Yeah, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah. People were like, "Is he all right? He's sick? What's going on?" But nah, I was good. And, lost that weight. And so, of course, when you lose weight, people are always going to ask you, "Hey, man, what you do?" So I said, all right, well, I can't really tell you what I did because I really don't know. All I did was pray a lot, read a lot, and started taking away foods, incorporating vegetables and fruits. And then somebody told me to go to nutrition school. And I'm like, man, I got a degree in computer science engineering. I work in the IT field. I'm not trying to go to nutrition school. I can't afford nutrition school. It's expensive. But I called the nutrition school and I gave them my testimony and they gave me a partial scholarship. But I was like, man, I still can't afford the school. And so then I was like, all right, God, if you want me to go to the school, you got to make a way for this to happen because I don't have no money. And so when I got my tax return that year, my tax return was for the remaining balance of the nutrition school, you know, with the scholarship. So I said, all right, I went ahead and just signed a check over to them with the nutrition school and got my first certification in nutrition, and the rest is history.
Man, see, this is why I love this. I didn't even know that part of the story right there, boy.
Yeah, man, it's meant to be, man. It's meant to be. So.
All right. Well, your story's been phenomenal. As you know, I still rely on you for everybody. We were just talking about that. You got me my first blend tech. My blood tech is now my sixth family member, and stuff like that. So break us down now. You got a line of information, the Cool Kids. Tell us a little bit about that, because that has inspired my kids to eat asparagus, and they've never when they read your book at first, that was the only weekend in life that they ate asparagus and vegetables without complaining. So I'm about to make them reread it again as we kind of slipped up during the summer and get them back on those healthy principles. Tell us about the Cool Kids.
Yeah, man. So I'm an award-winning children's book author as well, and it's kind of funny. It's weird that I'm in this space right now because nobody would ever think I'd be giving nutritional advice. I could give you chicken wing advice back in the day, but nobody think I'd give nutritional advice. And then for me to be an award-winning author is funny too, because all through college I didn't like to read, and so I was one of those statistics. So, I probably read more in that 2010 year than I did in all my years of schooling. So I wrote The Cool Kids in the Land of the Giants. It's a series about a group of Christian kids that take on health-related giants that have invaded their land. And in the first book, they take on a giant named obesity. And I wrote that book because we have a lot of giants that, quote unquote, live in our land right now. And a lot of us adults are comfortable with those giants living here, whether it's obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, the list goes on and on. We give those diseases cute nicknames. Like if you got diabetes, people say they got a touch of sugar. Man, sugar's not playing tag with you. You got it. It's not no touch. You have it. So I wanted to create a group of kids that are sick and tired of the giants being in their land, and they have to evict the giants from their land. And so, it was my prayer that the kids would motivate other children as well as adults to evict the giants out of their land. And so with the first book in obesity, it's teaching kids how to fight and defeat obesity with biblical principles. And it's been well received around the country. Actually, it's international now. And so it's really been a blessing. And so we have other books in that series coming, and some other series coming under the new media brand that I started. And so, I'm excited to see what's going to happen, man. I get testimonies from parents and kids pretty much daily about how children are eating healthier, how parents are eating healthier, shopping better, because they say that this is the first generation of children that will not outlive their parents due to childhood obesity and type 2 diabetes. And so I'm working really hard to prove them wrong.
Man, I can give my testimony. I remember when my wife came back, just to back up to let everybody know, my daughters had a reading group where it's a bunch of young African-American girls reading together. And so I was like, man, I want to bring Big Dog, and you came out. I think you went with your son, right? Your oldest?
Yeah.
I know he was enjoying that. He's enjoying that, a room full of ladies. Well, he might enjoy it now. He may enjoy it in the future.
He still talks about it. He like, when we going back? That's he kind of like his dad. So, I ain't mad at him.
Well, that was my wife came back and she was like, man, I remember the mothers were even thinking differently about some of their habits, because like we grew up in the church, and to be honest, what you're doing is phenomenal because you're actually doing it within the church realm. Like my mom, who's a Smith alumnus, is gonna watch this. She'd be looking at me like right now. Like right now, I kind of started gaining weight with the pandemic at home. Started getting some bad habits, so I'm down like 25 in the last couple of weeks. She like, you look a little slim there. And I'm like, dang, ma, could I be healthy? I couldn't. I was beating and puffing with my kids in the backyard a couple of weeks ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was like,
man.
I gotta get this under control, man. So that's the stuff that you're doing is going against the grain, and we all gotta kind of understand that in terms of what you're doing. So that's why I really appreciate and then promote you as much as possible. What
I
are the
appreciate it.
next steps in the business? Where are you looking to take it?
Yeah, so I'm the owner of my own wellness practice, Beyond Weight Loss Total Wellness Center, and under that, what I do is I create programs for families and groups. I work with individuals one-on-one, but the main thing that I love doing is public speaking. I've been on the public speaking circuit for about 5 years now, and so I go to churches, church groups. I go to schools. I actually train teachers in different public school systems around this area. And regionally, I also travel to churches. I've been able to go to churches around this country to teach biblical nutrition, and Fortune 500 companies as well. I go in there and do lunch and learns with them and teaching them about healthy eating and how to navigate through the grocery store, and also how to read labels and things like that. And right now I have a partnership with the DC Fire Department that we hope to take across the country as well, trying to improve the health of firefighters. So that's one thing with Beyond Weight Loss. I'm doing a lot with that. And then I started Wellthy Entertainment. Wellthy is Wellthy. That's how I spell it. Because your health is your wealth. And so with that, I create content and books and hopefully animation and movies in the future. And with that, what we want to do is we want to, we call it Wellthy because we either want kids, whenever they finish reading or watching content that we create, we either want them to help them to become rich in love, rich in knowledge, rich in health, or rich in Christ, or all of the above. So through Beyond Weight Loss and Wellthy Entertainment, I'm pretty busy, but hopefully you'll be able to see what it is that we're creating for you guys, and I hope it impacts you, your families for generations to come.
Amen on that, man. I love that. I absolutely love that. I want to back up 1 second and interlude because it was funny. I was listening to Tony Robbins this morning on my way into the office, and he was talking about how you change your state. And he was talking about how food changes your state. Like the biggest fear that I had when this first came out, like my wife was from Miami. And so like I remember when this first hit, I forgot his name, he's a ball player from Miami. My wife was scrambling, panicking. I was like, babe, we fine. What I'm worried about is kids like that were in like Miami Gardens who didn't have meals and things of that sort. And like how like we're finding out the evidence that some of these kids that are quote unquote bad kids have blood sugar levels that are off the chain, and it's literally impossible for them to focus. Talk a little bit about like how you're speaking with educators and how important nutrition is to actually getting our kids who may be labeled as all these dyslexic and not able to concentrate, things of that sort, and how maybe these cocoa pebbles and things of that sort are influencing how their brains are actually processing.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So when I talk to parents as well as educators, I have to let them know that, when they diagnose kids with these behavioral disorders, it's a few of them that actually may have it, but a lot of it is side effects from a lot of the chemicals we're putting in their bodies. And so you have things like the artificial flavors and the artificial colors. Those things are just chemicals, and they're all through the children's food, but not just through their food. It's in their allergy medicine. It's also in the things that they put on their skin. So their lotions, their shampoos, their conditioners, the products that you use on your children day in and day out. And their bodies don't know how to break down chemicals. I always tell people your body can burn calories, but it cannot burn chemicals. And so when you continue to put chemicals in your body, the body's going to react in a strange way. And so you may see a child fidgeting in class, can't sit still. It's not necessarily that that kid has a behavioral reaction, but it's really the food that they're putting in their bodies. You have to think about your food as fuel, right? So if you think about a car, if you put low grade fuel in a Rolls Royce, it's not going to perform the way it was designed to perform. And people don't realize that your body's a multi-million-dollar machine. If you don't believe me, go to any hospital and ask how much does it cost for a heart replacement? How much does it cost for a new knee, a new hip? a new kidney, all that stuff adds up, right? Blood transfusions, so those things add up. So you have you're in possession of a multi-million-dollar machine. And if you keep putting low-grade fuel in this high-performance machine that God gave us, it's not going to perform the way it was designed to perform. And so
Go ahead, drop the mic.
we continue to keep putting all of these foods with all of these chemicals in our bodies and in our children's bodies, and we expect them to sit still, be quiet, and pay attention in class, but their body is reacting to all of the chemicals that's in there. So we really have to pay attention to what it is that we feed ourselves as well as what we feed our children, and try to feed them as much real food as possible.
Hey, I'm getting chills listening to that, because the last time it was years ago when Michael Bazin was on the radar. He was the first one who talked about lotions. So like I make my lotions at home. My wife still, it drives her nuts because we have to do it once a month, refrigerate it, and sometimes it'll get moldy. You got to throw it out because there's no preservatives in it. You know
Right.
what I mean? Straight organic. Because I'm like, he was the first one I ever heard talk about your skin is an absorption point where it gets
it's your largest organ. It's
Yeah,
your largest organ. Yeah.
Exactly. And so like there's no one advocating and talking about this kind of stuff. Hopefully people can pick this up, the Smithites, and we can have these conversations and definitely support you. So final thing, two things. Number one, how do folks get in contact with you, find out more information, how to book you as a speaker, and get more information on your books, things of that sort?
Yeah, so you can follow me on all social media platforms at Beyond Weight Loss. It's BEYOND. Weight is spelled the letter W, the number 8, and loss, LOSS. So you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm very active on social media platforms. You can actually also go to www.beyondweightloss.com, or you can go to www.wellthyentertainment.store. And that's the store where you can find all the books, apparel, and anything else that we have under Wellthy Entertainment. So follow me on social media. You can email me, beyondweightloss@gmail.com, for any inquiries, speaking engagements, or anything like that. And I'd be happy to come and share a little bit of knowledge that I have with you, your team, your group, or whoever it may be.
Can you grab the book and show in the book real quick?
Yeah, sure. So this is the Cool Kids. So the Cool Kids are actually my two sons and my niece. And so they're the ones who take on obesity. And the next one, I have this little poster behind me, if you can see it right here. So
Is that the
when
little
this book
girls
was
in here?
yeah. So when this book was released, my daughter wasn't born yet. So
Yeah.
now she's born. She's like, Dad, what's up? I need to be in the book. So I said, okay, cool. So I have her in the next book. So it's going to be 4 cool kids. So she's in the next book. And then my two oldest, they're 6 and 4. And so they actually created a series to encourage kids to use their imaginations. So I'm really excited for that project to come out. They want to be authors as well. So pretty soon they'll be self-published authors. Because when you look at the scope of children's books, and while it's needed, I will say it's needed, but every book right now for Black kids, especially Black boys, is how to be an activist. You got to be woke, and whatever happened to kids just having fun and using their imagination. So they have that book coming out, and so I can't wait for you guys to see that. So we have a lot of things that's coming out, and hopefully in the future you'll see it on Netflix sometime or some other platform.
Absolutely. Sorry about that. Phone buzzing in the background. So they want to appreciate that. One quick thing, and I apologize because you're bringing up some good points. I thought about that exact same thing, that there's no because one thing I learned this from a white real estate agent. He was like, man, you got to learn how to have fun. So like for me, like when I first got into business, I was motivated to make money. Like I used to literally have a picture of a kid who was shot in Chicago. Because I was like, I've seen so much death in my life, seen so many kids shot. I was like, I'm trying to get messages out to the young brothers to try to help them. Well, he's like, what kind of mood does that put you in every day to do your job? It's like, that's depressing.
Hey,
and
it's the same thing.
Yeah, I never thought about that. But the same thing, like when you pick up little, because my little boy is 5, and I'm trying to give him like motivation to be happy every day, because he doesn't have this idea that he's black and the police and anything. He doesn't have any of that. He's just a young boy trying to live his life. But there's nothing positive out there. So I'm so glad that you're doing that. And we're going to have to talk offline about that, because I literally this morning had that same thought of like, man, I need to hire a ghostwriter, because I'm too busy. But like, I got the ideas, but I'm too busy. And I'm like, I need to figure that out. So we need to talk about that, because that's definitely, and as much as Amazon, as plentiful as Amazon is, there's nothing in that space. Like, I haven't seen anybody do it. And so,
it's important. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I always tell people that good health is so much more than eating right and exercise. Your attitude, the way you think, that affects your health as well. And so we have to, try to have some fun. That's
exactly.
One of the most important things that we could do is to have some fun, laugh, smile. And it's kind of hard to do with COVID, since everybody's so social distance right now. And so you see people's health declining, because, it all starts in the mind. Your mental and emotional health is very, very important. And so we have to make sure that we get back to that and have some fun, and make sure that our kids are having fun as well. They need to laugh and joke and have fun. And it's very important for their health and their mental and emotional well-being.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be short in the last one. I apologize. You've mentioned some stuff, so I've interjected a little bit more than I usually do. Last question. What advice would you give to the young alumni base who are kind of coming up, trying to fill up your shoes next?
Yeah, so for the young alumni, man, number one, take care of your body. That's one of the most important things. And you don't have to, go all the way to the extreme and try to eat all vegetables. It's great. You need to eat more vegetables. But the thing is you want to do something today that your body's going to thank you for tomorrow. Whether that's just increasing your water, not eating so much fried foods or fast foods, eating more vegetables, exercising, getting more rest. Just do something today that your body's going to thank you for tomorrow, and just take care of yourself. I always tell people that, when you get on an airplane, the first thing they say is, if there's a case of emergency, you got to put your mask on first before you put the mask on somebody else. You have to take care of yourself, because without your health, you can't do anything. And so we usually don't value our health until it's gone or it's taken away or something happens. Take care, be proactive instead of reactive. Take care of your health, take care of your body. And that's one of, if not the most important things, because everything else that you're chasing, all your ambitions, all your goals, all your dreams, you cannot do it, or you cannot fully enjoy it once you reach it without your health. So you got to make sure that your health is a top priority in your life.
All right, man. I appreciate it. We'll look forward to more continual Wellness Wednesday posts from you. James, Big Dog Tate, thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. You dropped some knowledge on us.
Hey, no doubt, Corn. I appreciate you, brother.
All right, Tate, thank you, man.